You know, I look around and I think we could really use Flash Gordon right about now. Flash to the rescue. At least here on PLD Projects. Crown Jewels next. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PLD Products Presents Crown Jewels. I'm your host, PLD. This week, Flash to the rescue. That's right, we're still headlong into the Flash Gordon soundtrack era, plugging through until the very end of the film. This week's episode, Flash to the Rescue, written by Brian May, features Brian on guitar, piano, synthesizer, and vocals, Roger Taylor on drums and vocals, Freddie Mercury on vocals, John Deacon on bass guitar. Yes, it seems to be a more band effort this time around, as we've seen a lot of times throughout the course of the soundtrack. We've had different solo efforts, some duo efforts, but this is a full band effort. Still not very long. All these tracks are very short and sweet, as it were, which is why it's always so hard to rate them at the end. But what are you doing here? If this is your first time here, welcome, of course. This is where I'm taking you on a journey through the entirety of the Queen catalog and solo catalog, song by song on a chronological basis, and we can try to see which version of every song is the best or titular crown jewel version of the song to put into our ultimate playlist. I usually try to give you some history if I have some notes, some quotes if I have them. And we listen to the different tracks and we figured out which is the best. And then we, of course, also rank the song or rate the song on a scale of 1 to 11. Because here on PLD Products, we always turn things up to 11. But how do we listen to the tracks? Well, that's easy. I don't want to get a copyright strike or anything like that. So what I do is I write all the links to YouTube versions in a Google Doc. I put that in a Google Doc in the show notes below. I tell you when to pause me, when to search out those links to listen to whatever version we're going to talk about. You go listen to it, you come back, you unpause me, and away we go. So let's get right to it. Again, I already told you about this track as far as the musicians go. This is basically not much more than that. It's a souped-up version of the main theme to a degree, and that does include, of course, some dialogue from the film. Basically, it's Brian's film at this point now. It really is. The rest of this soundtrack becomes Brian's film for the most part. A lot of real rock symphonic battles forthcoming. So, without further ado, I've said enough already. Why don't we pause me, go down to that link, click on it, and then come back for more.
Flash Gordon approaching.
What do you mean? Flash Gordon approach.
All right, welcome back. That is Flash to the Rescue, and this is a song which to me is one of the key examples of why some people don't believe this is a real, true Queen album per se, because there is so much incidental music, and in this case, barely any music in the track. It's actually a lot more dialogue than music. It just showcases the time when Flash has survived being executed. He survived with Prince of Voltan and the Hawkmen and Prince Baron. And they're trying to go and basically attack Ming now and save the day, save Dale Arden, who is being forced to marry the evil Emperor Ming. That's Dahlia here in the beginning at her lowest. But throughout the baggies, you hear talks about the security from Ming's castle, seeing Flash approaching, and hear a lot of sci-fi kind of bursts of sound, bursts of keys, alarms, laser blasts, and all throughout. The whole thing's underscored, of course, by that same pulsating piano and drums which began the entire Flash Gordon theme, the one you know from the single from the radio, the dun 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 throughout the entirety of the thing. Had a couple of Flash chords here and there, some big guitar bursts here and there, nothing hugely long and overdone though. We do hear Flash talking with Voltan, the leader of the Hawkmen, as he strategizes on his upcoming battle. In fact, we actually end with a triumphant sounding keyboard and the rising drum beats, hearing almost going to be the attack of the Hawkmen, which is exactly what it does lead into. We stop abruptly because it goes right into next week's track, which is Voltan's theme, Attack of the Hawkmen. So, not a whole lot to talk about musically. But at the same time, it's why I rate these things usually 5.5 out of 11, generally speaking, because I can't knock it for doing its job. Its job was to be incidental music or underneath some dialogue to provide some basis, some score work as the movie goes on, accompaniment as it were. It's not supposed to be a song in and of itself. So how can I rate it badly for doing its job? So that 5.5 right in the middle is probably where I put it. I wouldn't listen to this outside of the soundtrack. I'm not going to put it into a shuffle for the most part. I'm going to put it into just the soundtrack itself. There are a couple of songs on the Flash soundtrack that I could see listening to outside. This isn't one of them. It's just a little bit of a repeat of the main theme with some bursts of other things and dialogue and sound effects. That's it. All right, that's going to do it because that's the only version we have of this track. This is quite frankly, is what happens in the Flash Gordon soundtrack. We usually only get one, maybe two, maybe an early demo. There's not a whole lot of extra effort going on as releasing things, as demos go, as live versions go. This is one that's just that. So this is, without spoiler, I mean, that's a spoiler, I guess, but that's it. This is the crown jewel. Flash to the Rescue, the album version, is the crown jewel. It's the only version. So the only question now is, what do I rate it? On a scale of 1 to 11? Well, I kind of already gave that away, too. It's a 5.5 because I can't go any lower. It's doing its job. I'm not going to go any higher because it's not like a great song that I'm going to celebrate. So that's it. Short episode this week, guys. What can I say? It happens. Next week, we will be back with Voltan's theme, the Attack of the Hawkmen. Brian Blessed will feature in that. He featured in this one as well. Brian Blessed, the great English actor with the big, booming basso voice. You heard him as Voltan this week, and you'll hear him next week. But that's going to do it for us this week, folks. If you like this stuff, hit the subscribe, leave me comments, talk about your favorite versions of said tracks, and definitely have a whole plethora of earlier tracks. This is me being completist. I'm going through every single one, so some of my episodes are going to be a hell of a lot longer. In fact, I think I have like a 90-minute episode on We Will Rock You. A lot of different versions to take care of there. So, that's what happens. It's the how it goes for a little bit. But you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/PLD Project. You can get early versions. And depending on when you're listening to this, I have hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, which I'm very excited about. I really thank you for coming along with me. I am starting a YouTube membership on this channel as well, specifically. I already do have one on my sister YouTube channel where I do a lot of movie and TV stuff. And I have been putting the early versions of Crown Jewels on my Patreon. I will continue to do that if you're there. But I'm also going to start making a specific YouTube membership here, which will be the early versions of Crown Jewels will be uploaded as soon as they're done recording. I put them up there. Sometimes they're a week in advance. Sometimes they're 2 weeks in advance, depending on what's going on. And at a certain level, I might give some specifically Crown Jewels extra bonuses, maybe some Queen remixes that I haven't unleashed onto the YouTube, maybe some of my original music work as it is as well. That's going to be decided. But if you can't help me that way or on the Patreon, totally understand. You can help me by liking, subscribing, leaving reviews, all that kind of stuff, sharing. Let me know what you think. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this week. We'll see you next week for Voltan, the Attack of the Hawkmen. Take care, guys. Bye.